What is up, Maryland basketball fans? Welcome into another Fear the Podcast. I'm Matt Moderno. The guy here with me today needs no introduction, but just in case he did, he is in the intro video to the show here up front. So that's pretty awesome. I got Eric Hayes with me. Eric, thanks for coming on, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, the first guy on the show so far that's been in the intro video. We put that together after Greivis was on, so you're the first, so that's pretty cool.
I'm honored for that, yeah.
I like it. So for anybody not familiar with your game, which I don't know why they'd be listening to this podcast if they're not, but Eric was a guard at Maryland from 2006 to 2010. Also the same years I was a Terp, so very cool. Thank you for making my college experience very good. That senior night Duke win is probably my favorite sporting event of all time, so I definitely want to talk about that at some point. But I got to imagine that's up there for you too.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool. All right, averaged 11.3 points as a senior, 2.5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal. Shot over 45% from three, which is just crazy. Almost 90% from the free throw line, which is great. From Woodbridge, Virginia, so a local or Dumfries, Virginia. I'm not sure which one we call home.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Cool. So a local-ish guy, from the general DMV adjacent here. So end up playing at Maryland, and we were happy to have you. Eric, I guess we'll go through this. I got some just sort of like listener questions and stuff like that to start out, but the first couple are kind of related to what your recruiting process was like, how you ended up at Maryland. If you hadn't gone to Maryland, where were you leaning toward? I remember like Wake Forest and UVA being in the mix, if I remember right, but I'd love to hear from you just kind of how that whole thing went.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, growing up, I was always a Maryland basketball fan. So, my dad watched Maryland basketball. So I was always locked in on the Terps really from a young age. And, as my game started developing over the years and I started getting more attention from colleges, started playing with, bigger AAU teams like Boo Williams. That's when my recruitment kind of blew up a little more than the previous years. So, going into my like freshman year to sophomore year is when I really started picking up offers from a lot of different, ACC, Big 10, Big 12, all the bigger conference schools. So I had quite a few, that I was looking at, but Maryland was, I kind of knew once they were going to offer, it was kind of a done deal for me.
Yeah.
I think it was maybe my start of my sophomore year, I committed to Maryland, or end of sophomore year, really early. So they had definitely a leg up on the recruitment. But other teams and other schools that were kind of in the mix, Wake Forest was one of them. I had a pretty good relationship with Skip Prosser when he was there. And then West Virginia was another one when Beeline was there. I really liked the way they played. I liked his style of coaching as well.
Would have been fun to play for, I think, too.
Yeah, no doubt. That was a little too far. I wanted to be close to home. I wanted my parents to be able to come watch me play every game, and wanted to be, relatively close to home. So Maryland was kind of the perfect situation for me. Going in there, having the opportunity to play right away, being my dream school and being home where I could have people come watch was just an all-around win for me.
Yeah, it's checking every box at that point. It's almost hard to say no. And I wish Maryland had a few more, top 70-ish recruits in the mix that felt the same way. Would help us out here for sure. Who was the lead in the recruitment? Was it Gary himself, a particular assistant that kind of spearheaded things?
Kind of as my recruitment was going, this coaching staff was kind of starting to turn over a little bit. So early on, it was Dickerson, and then it was like Lonergan was a big time recruiter for me, and then it was Chuck, Giselle, and then obviously Gary was in the mix through all of those. But as time went on and the staff rearranged to kind of piggybacked off each other, and I got to be recruited by some pretty good recruiters and coaches.
Yeah, no kidding. That's quite the list there already. That's awesome. You don't have to say the school, but any particularly noteworthy recruiting stories or ones that you stand out to you, or things that you tell your friends about that were kind of crazy?
I do like to say, so Virginia Tech was recruiting me pretty hard. That was when Greenberg was there. And I remember going down there to a football game, and it was a pretty far hike down to Blacksburg from where I was. And I remember, I don't know who it was, one of the coaches was telling me how, one of their one of their top guards at the time. Was, I kind of knew him a little bit. I knew he was a little bit of a troublemaker and wasn't really a great leader and all that. And I remember them kind of talking him up, like, he was like this, great person, great leader. And I was like,
Yep.
man, this is,
I know better.
they're trying to give me the run around here on this. And that kind of shut me off from Virginia Tech. But that's kind of the one that comes to mind. But I honestly didn't take too many visits. I only took one official visit. That was to Maryland. I went to West Virginia for a football game. I went to Wake Forest, I believe, and a couple other schools. I think NC State maybe when Sendek was there. I liked their style of play and how he coached. But I only took one official, and that was after I was already committed to Maryland. So
I feel like a lot of these coaches, like, word gets around too. So once it's, hey, Eric is pretty locked in on Maryland, that's the dream school. That probably like,
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, a lot of them kind of knew where I stood and knew they didn't have a great chance, but they kind of still just to make sure, do their due diligence, I guess.
Yeah, you got to try. I mean, you got to try when it's
with Maryland, but yeah, I mean, it was kind of a done deal once Maryland was in the mix.
So you end up at Maryland. You're playing for Gary Williams. Guy was a point guard himself at the school back in the day. Like, what was that relationship like? I feel like guys that are high IQ players, guards, and the head coach, if he's been in guard especially, are like, they got to be kind of in lockstep there. But I would say you guys are, well, I don't remember Gary the player. I remember Gary the coach's on-court demeanor. You guys are a little bit different there. How was that relationship? Was it a little fire and ice there? Like, how did that kind of work?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, luckily, I think I tried to do the right thing a lot of the time. So I wasn't getting yelled at too much by him. Sure. I was doing what he told me to do. But there are times, obviously, when he has to get on me, and I'm very open to that. I mean, I came from my dad coaching me in high school throughout my years, so I was used to kind of getting the business a little bit. Not quite as hard as what Gary can give, but
Sure.
So no, but I mean, we had a great relationship. Obviously, when you're one of the guards and you're a young guy coming in, you got to kind of be a leader on the floor and an extension of that coach. And I think I did a pretty good job of getting what he wanted out there on the court. And luckily, we had myself and Greivis, where Greivis obviously was the more rambunctious one, the kind of more so like Gary is out on the court and showed his emotions out there. And that was kind of the yang to his yin when it comes to that dynamic.
You guys just always seem to complement each other so well, and you can't have two guys that are that outwardly demonstrative, I think, playing the roles that you guys were playing. So I feel like because of that, you were able to kind of give each other allow each other to do the best at what you were good at and stuff. But I'm sure in high school you were like the point guard, a heavy usage on ball guy, and you had to play a little more off ball.
Yeah.
Next to Graves, just because of the shooter you were, you could create that gravity. And I don't think he was maybe quite as good off the ball as he was on the ball. So I don't know, was that a sacrifice for you, or were you equal opportunity playing on off ball?
Yeah, I mean, I was fine playing either position. I just wanted to play. I wanted to be on the court. But I mean, in high school, obviously, I had the ball more in my hands, making more of the plays, doing that type of thing. But as you level up in competition and athleticism and all that, I just wanted to be out on the floor, and whatever way I could get out there the most minutes is how I wanted to play. I wasn't going to pout on whether or not I was bringing up the ball or Greivis was bringing up the ball. I think we did a great job of, whoever kind of got the ball was going to bring it up, and we had, I'd run the lane or he'd run the lane. And I think we playing that style really over the years. I mean, having the IQ that he has as a basketball player and my IQ, I think we meshed very well as to where we didn't have to even say anything to each other. We knew where we were going to be. We knew how to get each other the ball, and I think it worked out perfectly.
I think you look at a lot of the best college basketball teams of all time, at least in the modern era, there are essentially 2 point guards on the floor, and I think that just gives you so many options and makes you harder to guard. So guys definitely had a lot of success together, and it paid off. You come in as a recruiting class there together. You guys play a lot out of the gate. Come in with Landon Milbourne. He plays a lot out of the gate. That just doesn't happen in today's college basketball. So what was it like kind of going all the way through with those guys and basically playing a lot from the get-go together?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big jump from, being a senior in high school then to playing
Sure.
Obviously, back then it was the best league in the country, ACC. It was just one of those things where I think, maybe some of the lack of our athletic ability or in strength at that time was made up for by, the IQ that we had, the way we could play the game, and the skill I think that we had as basketball players kind of made up for maybe the lack of athleticism that we had, or lack of strength at that time as a freshman coming in to play key roles for one of the top teams in the ACC.
All right, we talked about Gary. I feel like everybody that's played for him has a best Gary story. So I'm putting you on the spot here a little bit. What's the best Gary story you got? That you maybe this is a family-friendly show, but you can do whatever you need to do here if it's not.
Yeah, I'm terrible with these things. I just, as in general, like just how funny he was. I mean, not a lot of people know that about him. Even if he's not trying to be, he can be. Especially like during practice, like, if he's getting on one of the players, or especially like one of the coaches that aren't doing what he wants, it took a lot for us to hide, our laughter or our amusement of.
You don't want to be the guy that laughs if he's losing it on somebody, right?
We'd be running the stairs if he saw us laughing about it. But yeah, just I think the amount of times that we were just dying laughing from stuff he did. Or stuff he said to people was just, I'll remember those forever.
It's like East Coast funny too. I feel like you got to be from here to know that, like, kind of sarcastic, biting funny, and he's a little understated about it.
Yeah, it's a dry humor, sarcastic humor, but it's coming hard at you too. So it was something special. Yeah,
that's awesome. Just curious what you think of today's kind of college basketball environment. I talked about you guys being there start to finish as a group. Like, that is basically unheard of, except for 2 or 3 schools in Power 5 right now. Like, is that something you think about when you're watching a college basketball game? Like, how much different that would have been if I had a totally new team every year?
Yeah, it seems pretty insane. I don't really like it, but I understand why guys go different places and the money that's out there for players these days. I think I probably would have benefited a lot in this day and age, especially with now shooting becomes such a important factor in where guys are going and who's wanted around the country. So my bank account would probably look a little different right now, but yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. It is what it is at this point. Either you adapt to it or you get left behind, really. And from what I've seen, it seems like Coach Williams, the new Coach Williams, has done a pretty good job of getting a team together very quick.
That's the next question on here. I've been knocking out some of the listener questions and throwing them in the mix as we go, but that is one of the questions. Just what do you think of what you've seen so far from new Coach Williams, and where do you think they'll kind of end up this year?
It's always so hard to tell, especially with this group where, I mean, literally every single player is new. How they're going to finish, how the team's going to work together, how they're going to gel. But everywhere Coach Williams has been, it seems doesn't really matter who he's got on the roster. He kind of finds a way to get guys to buy in and get guys to play as a team and even play, over what they're maybe expected to do. So I'm pretty pleased with what I've seen so far from him. He seems like a very good guy. He seems like very personable, and seems like a great recruiter. So I think the future's pretty bright there for Maryland.
One of the things we talked about with some of your former teammates is just sort of getting you guys back in the fold here a little bit. I know you don't live in town, but any plans to make it back for a game here anytime soon or anything like that?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll definitely be back for at least one game. I went last year to the alumni game, and I think it was the Iowa game, and I'm sure we'll have some more coming up this year. So I'll for sure be back for at least one. May try to get to a road game, the one that's close by, maybe Indiana or somewhere like that. It's fairly close to where I am right now in Nashville. So yeah, I'll for sure do that. I'm trying to figure out maybe a football game I can get to as well. So I haven't been to one of those in a while, but yeah, I'll for sure be back.
Me too. Just talking about that with some of the other Maryland guys today. I have not been to a Maryland football guy in a while, and I live 40 minutes away, so I don't have the same excuse you do. But I'm gonna fix that this year, I think. So I knocked out a couple of listener questions here. So thanks to DMV, to UMD, EK Terp, Terps 02, Gary's Tea Time, Maccabee 2106. Last one I got for you here, the listener questions, is from Turgeon Era Survivor. Most impressive dunk you ever saw from Landon Milbourne in practice? I'm going to amend that a little bit, though. You also played with James Gist, so I would imagine you saw some monster dunks in your time playing with those two.
Yeah,
guys.
I mean, we had some hot flyers going through we had James and we had McKinney, Beckway, and we had Mike Jones, who could,
for sure.
I mean, he probably had some of the nastiest dunks I've seen. He didn't do as much in games, but in practice, and he probably had probably jumped one of the highest of the team. But yeah, I mean, Landon, he's kind of the power dunker. He kind of came through with the left hand and just like tomahawk it on you. He would kind of sneak it on guys. He wouldn't really expect it, but yeah, James Gist, I mean, he caught a lot of alley-oops that I didn't think there was any way he could get to, but he somehow got his hands up there and dunked on them. None come off the top of my head, any particular one, but there's definitely a whole lot that I witnessed throughout my years being there in College Park.
I've been on the wrong side of a James Gist dunk, and I can tell everybody listening to this, it's not a fun place to be.
No, so I'm sure I was in practice a few times too.
Yeah, I can imagine. All right, I got just a handful, or more than a handful. It's like a dozen rapid fire questions for you. So these are just short answer. First thing that comes to mind. Nothing too crazy here. Toughest away arena you ever played in?
Duke, Cameron Indoor for sure.
I went there for the first time last year, and it does live up to the hype. It's pretty crazy in there.
It's just so unique and small, and like the fans are right on top of you. And you've seen obviously a couple of our games there. You can get away from you fast, so it's a tough place.
A top moment as a Terp, is it that senior night game? Like I got to think that's on the Mount Rushmore for you somewhere.
Yeah, I mean it's probably got to be the senior night game because obviously it was a huge game. Not only just being against Duke at home, being our last game, it also had big ramifications of the regular season ACC. We had to win that game to beat Virginia the next game to at least get a share of the regular season. So that was definitely the biggest game of our career.
I'm just glad College Park survived that. I thought there was a chance it would get totally burned to the ground afterwards, and I think it got close for a while, but we made it through. Opposing team you most like to beat? I'm guessing I know this answer too, but I'm curious.
Yeah, it was Duke. I mean, Duke was obviously up there. I like beating Virginia. I know you mentioned they might have been recruiting her, but honestly, Virginia really was not in the picture at all.
Oh, interesting.
I don't even think they offered me probably,
Wow.
to be honest.
Okay.
So yeah, that was kind of one that was like, I am from Virginia, like,
yeah, that's wild.
Going on here, but like I wasn't gonna go there anyways. But just the fact that they didn't really recruit me, that was always sweet to beat them as well.
Yeah, you got to have a little something extra for them at that point when you're like the top point guard in the state for a handful of years. That's crazy. Any opposing player you had like a rivalry with? It doesn't have to be like a negative thing, but just like, hey, me and this guy always had battles, or I like going up against this guy.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I go back to the Duke matchup. I mean, obviously with Steyer and like Nolan Smith, those are kind of two guys that I kind of matched up with a lot in our games. So I think those two kind of come to mind. And then, obviously we had some tough battles with Carolina when they had like Wayne Ellington and those guys and Green, I'm missing his first name.
Gerald Green. Yeah.
No, shooter, Danny Green. Is it Danny?
Oh, Danny. Oh, sorry, you said UNC. I was thinking Duke for a second. Yeah, Danny Green.
No, those kind of come to mind right off the top.
I'm assuming Nolan Smith was a guy you played against growing up a lot here too.
He played obviously in the local. He was maybe a year younger than me, but he played with the Blue Devils and he played with I forgot what the Adidas team was back then, but we played a bunch together in AAU circuits.
Let's see. Toughest guy you had to guard. Was there ever a dude where you're just like, man, I'm glad I don't have to guard him ever again?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple. I mean, Ty Lawson, he was
that's tough.
So fast, man. He obviously we grew up playing against each other too. He was kind of in that Blue Devils AAU circuit. Jeff Teague was tough. I mean, there was a lot of. I mean, I grew up playing against like Lou Williams, and so there was a lot of the quicker, smaller guards. I mean, I did not enjoy guarding.
That's a long night, no matter what, when you see that guy come off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Funniest teammate.
Oh man, it's probably the first guy that always comes to mind with funniest teammate is Cliff Tucker.
Let's go.
Sadly, he passed a few years back. But I mean, there's never a situation or a moment that he couldn't make you laugh. And he was definitely the funniest I've been around.
Just seemed like he was having fun all the time too, which is great to have in a teammate, somebody that can make those moments a little lighter. So rest in peace there.
Yes, sir.
Favorite food spot in College Park while you were there?
Oh gosh, I didn't eat out too much. I live
That's a
right
good answer. Coach Williams probably likes that answer.
Yeah. I live right by Potbellies, so I live always down there getting Potbellies. Jason Deli is right there. I don't know if it's still there or not, but
I'm actually not sure either. I don't think so.
Those are kind of the main. There's obviously some pizza places around there, but I would say Potbellies is probably the most frequent. Bagel place also. I mean, I went there and got bagel. Yeah, so those are probably the three.
I think College Park is like 90% pizza places at this point too. So anytime you go through there, it's like, oh, okay, all the spots we went to are gone.
Gone now, so
Yep, that's the one. Yeah, I know it's the only pizza place I always remember, and it's the only one not there anymore. Let's see. Were there any Terps from a previous era, a guy you didn't play with necessarily, or was a couple years older than you that came back or gave you advice or anything like that was helpful to you?
I mean, my going into my junior year, I went out to Portland for a week and stayed with Steve Blake.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, worked out with him over there at the facilities and got to kind of see his routine as a professional and all that. So it was a great experience. I learned quite a bit from him, and then that was something I'll never forget is them flying me out there and getting to work with the guy that I kind of idolized growing up, watching the Terps. So that was a fun experience.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's a cool story. That would be all over TikTok these days too, or whatever it would be, if that was today's generation happening. Let's see. Most memorable or funny thing a fan yelled at you. Ever have anything just particularly crazy said? I feel like fans say wild shit all the time.
Luckily for me, I had Greivis on the court with me at the same time, so nobody's really coming at me. I got nothing from the fans. It was always directed at either Gary or Greivis. So I literally didn't hear anything from the fans other than booing, which is not very original, but
yeah, not too spicy, but hey, that's good. Those guys can be a magnet for it, and it gives you guys freedom to just do your thing.
I had covered for sure. Yeah.
That's cool. Who's the best trash talker on the team?
I mean, it had to be Greivis. He's always the one that was trying to talk trash or getting under somebody's skin. And that most of the time it was to just try to, motivate to get people going harder or playing harder or raising their level of play. So he's definitely, I'd say he's got the number one spot there.
I think the one question I missed from the listeners here was any particularly good Greivis story that stands out to you?
Oh man, not really. I mean, I go during my recruitment, I know we were recruiting him too. I had already committed, and I was playing for Boo Williams at the time, and Greivis wasn't really playing with anybody, and I ended up getting Boo to get him on the team, and I think we had his first tournament with us is in New Orleans, and I ended up being his roommate. I want to be his roommate because I was like,
yeah, good idea. Get a head start.
I think he's got play. I think we could play well together. Like kind of a recruiting thing. I wanted to kind of become friends with him and possibly get him to College Park. And the first game we played was against Blue Devils when it was Ty Lawson, it was Kevin Durant. I mean, it was Austin Freeman, I think, and Durant and it's kind of where Greivis kind of popped onto the scene nationally. They went back and forth like 5 straight trips, like scoring on each other, and it was it really got the buzz going about Greivis. And I was just I think that was kind of the springboard to his recruitment, especially for us. Kind of getting to know me a little more, kind of feeling a little more comfortable because he still wasn't. I don't know how long he'd been in the States yet, but his English wasn't great still. He was still kind of learning the ropes here in America. So I like to think I have a decent part of him getting to College Park. So I don't know. Not too many people know that part of the relationship.
That's an awesome one. I'd never heard that. And you might actually be on the Mount Rushmore of Maryland recruiters just with pulling that one off. I mean,
I won't take full credit for it, but yeah, I'll take a small sliver. Yeah.
Hey, that helps. Any little bit helps. And I'm sure it helped him too, just having a friendly face, coming into a huge school like that when you're, like you said, still kind of getting the hang of the language and the country and all that kind of stuff. So that's really cool. Who's the most underrated player you played with at Maryland?
Underrated. I mean, I think Landon's up there. Landon Milburn's up there. I mean, he didn't get a lot of notoriety, but he was just so consistent, very consistent. You knew what you were going to get with him. Every night you walked out there, he was going to play it hard. He was going to defend. He was going to make shots. He was going to compete at a high level. And you just kind of always knew what you're going to get with him. So I love playing next to him. I think Dave Neal comes up to, and that's another one for me. Obviously, people look at him and it's like, there's no way he's playing in the ACC. He can probably looked at me the same way, so I can kind of relate to him on that kind of level. But yeah, I mean, obviously his IQ, his ability to use his body and carve out space, and then also be able to step out and make shots like he could, I think was very underrated.
You guys were probably one of the best shooting duos, perimeter shooting duos in maybe the country, his last year and your junior year, just because I think that team really relied on you guys to do a lot of the floor spacing, which is awesome.
Yeah, we had a pretty good shooting team that year. I mean, between me, him, and Greivis, and then we had some others that were shooting the ball pretty well. So yeah, it's definitely helpful when you can shoot the three and you can make free throws, and that goes a long way, especially in today's game.
Yeah, a little ahead of your time too, I think. Played fast, a little more modern in some of these groups. I think Landon was a guy that, he'd be a 4 more now today than he probably was then, and he made it work kind of wherever he needed him, which is huge. Let's see. I kind of talked about this one a little bit, but is there something you look back on now that you're kind of most proud of as a Terp accomplishment?
I mean, it probably goes back to our senior year. I don't think too many people, when we got on campus, didn't foresee maybe an ACC championship, in the future. We struggled a little bit on the inside on getting guys to stick. And then, kind of me and Greivis kind of growing and landing and growing over the years and becoming, a team that, any given night we could beat anybody out there on that we match up with. And it showed. I mean, obviously we beat, I think maybe it was my senior year. We beat Duke, who won the national championship. My junior year, we beat Carolina, who won the national championship. So like we beat teams that, won it all. Mm-hmm. And I think, just our final year is kind of proven that, we could get it done at the highest level and win a regular season ACC championship. And, obviously it sucked the way that it ended, but we felt like that year we could have made it to Final Four.
Yeah, for sure.
Went our way.
Have you forgiven Corey Lucius yet for the shot?
No, I never forgiven for that. Yeah,
me either. So I'm glad. Let's see. Build your all-time starting 5, including yourself here. You got 4 guys that have got to go out there with you from Terps players.
Oh, I'm included.
You're included.
All right. Well, I got to go with Greivis at point. It's got to be that. Let's see. The 3. Man, that's a tough one. Let's see. Maybe. Shoot, I'm gonna skip the 3. Let me go to the 4. Man,
it's a lot of good options.
It's so many big guys that I'm looking at. You could go real old school with like Atlanta or somebody like that. I'm gonna go more modern. Obviously, I grew up on the Terps, watching them. So I'm gonna go Lonnie at the 4.
I like it.
Let's see, 3 man. That is tough.
You go 3 guard lineup if you want. Put another guard in there.
Yeah, I mean I could put Juan at the 3.
It's pretty good.
I think let's do that. Okay. Me, Greivis, and Juan out there. We'll have Lonnie, and then starting at 5. Oh man, let's go Joe Smith.
Can't go wrong with that.
Off there.
That's cool.
I feel bad for leaving Len Bias out of my top 5, but I'm gonna go in recent.
I think that's fair. We're going, slightly more modern than that. That's all.
Yeah.
But can't go wrong with any of those guys. All right. I always like asking this one. It's kind of random, but I feel like anybody that's played basketball always has an answer to this. Was there one guy on the team that just consistently played the worst music? I feel like everybody has a guy that, like, if you give him the aux cord or let him control the music, everyone on the team just rolls their eyes immediately.
Oh man, I could throw Cliff in there again. He was always kind of had a different taste in music than a lot of people, but I mean, you could put Greivis in there as well. I mean, obviously he had Spanish music, and not a lot of us understand what's going on in those songs or what they're saying. So that'd probably be my number one, just because I don't speak Spanish, I don't understand anything that's being said.
Mm-hmm.
So that was probably 2.
Was there a player growing up that you modeled your game after?
Yeah, I think you go back to Blake. I mean, he was a few years ahead of me, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up watching the Terps. So I was a big fan of his, a big fan of Steve Nash. Those are the 2 that come to mind right off the bat that I've kind of modeled my game after. Similar build, similar athleticism, kind of the same type of game. So those are the 2 growing up.
It's a good answer. There's a lot of things you can learn from both those guys. Eric, what are you up to now? You mentioned being in Nashville, which is an awesome city, so good choice on that. But what do you got going on, and how'd you end up in Nashville? That sort of thing.
Yeah, so I've been a builder, so I've been building houses for going on 8 years now.
Nice.
So I've been doing that. I'm enjoying it a lot. I love it. And how I got here was just so my older sister got married to a guy from Nashville.
Okay.
They moved here after college. Then my parents moved here. Then my younger sister moved here. And I was like, I wanted to kind of get out of DC area for a little while. So I was like, oh, well, what better place than to move where my family is, and great city like Nashville. So I'm going on probably 9 years now here.
Nice. Yeah, it's a hard city to leave once you're there. Yeah. My wife's best friend and her husband live there, and we love to go visit just because it's a cool place to hang out. And it's also a good place to be building houses, because I think the housing market there is blowing up too.
It's exploding here. Yeah, a lot of people moving here. So it's a good thing to be here.
Good to hear it. Thank you for doing this. We really appreciate it. Appreciate all you did for the Terps. Like I said up front, made my 4 years of college really fun. So I owe you for that, and buy a beer or something next time you're up for a Terps game, because just appreciate your time.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me.
If people want to follow you, keep tabs on you on social media, any stuff like that, got any handles you want to throw out there for
me? Both my Twitter or X and Instagram is just EKHayes5. Very simple, very easy to remember. I'm not too active on Instagram, but during the sports, NFL and college basketball season, I kind of get into it a little bit. So I like having fun with some of the fans. So
those are the right 2 sports. So good call. Awesome. All right, Eric, thank you again for doing this, man. Good luck with everything you got going on, and would love to have you back on at some point.
Awesome. Anytime. Thank you.
All right, everybody, you know the drill. If you're watching this on YouTube, click that little like button for us, rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. It's always appreciated. Until next time, remember, fear the podcast.